Joining us now, NewsNation political contributor Mick Mulvaney. Mick, I want to talk about Venezuela. I want to talk about Minnesota. First, though, these Trump accounts. The president came out this week to tout this plan, and I read a Reuters report that said 57% or so of Americans don't even know what these Trump accounts are. Explain what good they can do and what folks should know about them.
Sure, they can help you save for your kids' future. I mean, it's a wonderful idea. It was part of the One Big Beautiful Bill. It's a big part of the central legislative accomplishments of the Trump administration in the first year, and it's a way, essentially, it's a savings account for kids. It's a great idea, and you can match money from your employer. You can match money from outside parties. I know there's a bunch of banks that are going to contribute money to this for their employees' kids. There are a bunch of charities nationwide that are contributing money to folks who, from the lower economic strata. So no, it's a nice little program. Whether or not it allows people to save considerable sums of money remains to be seen. Whether or not it is broadly adopted remains to be seen. But look, you give credit where credit is due. It looks like it's a good opportunity to save some money for your kids.
All right, good. Thank you. The news at hand today, the cabinet meeting will be happening shortly. We just heard from Border Czar Tom Homan in Minnesota. What's your level of optimism that we will see some calm based on the willingness, it appears, for both sides to cooperate a little bit?
Yeah, Marni, I've not seen a pivot like this with the Trump administration before, either in this term or in the first term. They turned almost on a dime in 24 hours to where, Bovino was out, Homan was in. Homan was acting directly to the, answering directly to the president, that going around the cabinet secretary. The verbiage became very different coming out of the White House. The language they were using was much calmer. The president went to went to call the governor of Minnesota and the mayor of Minneapolis, things that J.D. Vance, the vice president, had not done just a couple days before when he was in Minnesota. So there's been a dramatic change here. The answer to your question is, yeah, I think there's a chance here for meaningful change because I think the administration has decided that they want to change the way they're dealing with it because, face it, as you and I have talked about before, they were getting killed politically on this because people simply were not willing to stand by quietly while American citizens got shot while they're standing on their knees.
Yeah, this will be an interesting cabinet meeting. Kristi Noem is expected to be there. Mick, she's getting pressure from both sides to resign. The fact that she's not in Minnesota, pretty telling.
No, you want to be there for the cabinet meeting. Look, if I had a dime for every time one politician called for another politician to resign, I could pay the national debt. It doesn't mean very much. There are real threats of impeachment if the Democrats take the midterm election. I get that. I'm not diminishing it. But I wouldn't read too much in the fact she's not in Minnesota. She should be at the cabinet meeting. She's a member of the cabinet. She's a high-ranking member of the cabinet, and she should be there. So is she going to come under a good bit of scrutiny at the meeting? Absolutely. But let's wait and see what Donald Trump's language is. Donald Trump is pretty good about, wearing his heart on his sleeve. I've been in his good graces and I've been out of his good graces at these cabinet meetings, and I want you to know you'll know about it before the meeting is over where you stand.
Okay, good. We'll be watching very closely. Venezuela, the focus of Secretary Rubio's testimony this week. What were your thoughts on what he shared? And I also, this was an observation personally, but it seems as though he had, despite all the tough foreign policy issues, he had bipartisan respect in this hearing.
Yeah, well, he's former member of the committee. I remember testifying before the House Financial Services Committee when I was running the CFPB, and it's just something different when you're sitting talking to your recently former colleagues. There's a sort of appreciation, a mutual respect there for the work you might have done on the committee beforehand. Look, he's dealing with an issue that is murky on all sides of the Constitution as to when the president has to have approval from Congress, when he does not. Every president of both parties has fought this. Every Senate of both parties has fought back. You heard Marco Rubio in a moment of candor, which I really appreciate, saying he now looks at sort of the oversight role of Congress differently now that he's not in the Senate and is in the administration. That's one of the natural tensions that we have. But I thought that the clip that you played from Rand Paul hit the nail right on the head. Rand, a Republican, asked the question, if the Brazilians had done this to us, would we consider this an act of war? And I got to tell you, I think most of us would. So it's a point very, very well made. But you continue to see this tension between the White House and Capitol Hill over what a president can and can't do on his own authority.
Yeah, government at work. Mick, thanks as always. We covered a lot of ground there. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Marni. Have a great day.
You too.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.